Hey folks, this is Vince with Dan's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to revisit Star Tycoon. Star Tycoon is a game that was recently funded on Kickstarter. If you missed the Kickstarter, there is a late pledge button on the Kickstarter page. If I remember, I'll put a link in the below description for you. For those of you that have never heard of Star Tycoon before, this is a tableau building / engine building game with some market manipulation. Players will be purchasing planets and then slotting developments under those planets. These developments allow you to engine build and gather resources every turn. And using these resources, you can purchase more cards from the purchase row. And different planets have victory point requirements. So you have to sort of chain symbols from the developments so that they match the planet that they're attached to. You can also use resources to purchase these partnership cards, which give you bonuses in a particular color. There's also some random events that pop up from time to time. It's a great game. I love it, and I can't say enough good things about it. The developer has recently changed some of the core rules. So this is a video more for myself because I have a terrible memory, and I sort of need to, outline my thoughts and these new rule changes in one place so that I remember them for the next time I go to play. But hey, if they benefit you too, then great. So I have to stress, though, this game is still technically under development. The Kickstarter campaign is over. It was completed, successful, but, developers often change things up to the last minute. So there may be rule changes to these rule changes. So everything I'm about to say here could be changed at some point. So what are these rule changes? Well, I wrote them down because I'm old. First of all, there is a new OmniForge card. In the beginning of the game that I remember, back when it was still, early Kickstarter, everyone would get a starting planet and like a headquarters card or company card that outlined a special ability of some kind. On the bottom of the planet here were your resources that planet gave you for your engine building. Not a thing anymore. Rather, you are given this majority production bonus that you're shooting for. Okay? So this blue star means at the end of the game, if I am producing more blue resources than any other player, then I get 3 points. And I know what your next question is. Well, if they took out the whole engine building bonus that was here, how do I start my engine? How do I get more bonuses? Well, that's where these OmniForge cards come into play. Each player starts the game with one of them, and there's a little number in the bottom right-hand corner to indicate like player 1, player 2. Basically, the number of players is the numbered cards that you use. So if there's a 3-player game, use the cards 1, 2, and 3, and so on. Or at least draw them at random until everyone has one, whatever you'd like. But anyway, this slots underneath at the start of the game, like so. So here is your new starting production bonus. So long story short, they've added a third card to game setup. They replaced the bonus under the planet and put it here under this new OmniForge card. And now there's an end game majority production bonus on the main planet. They've also increased the number of hammers shown on the planet card from 2 to 3, and that's to account for the extra card that is slotted under here. These hammers represent the number of cards you can have slotted underneath. So they had to add another hammer here to offset the fact that there's now a new card underneath the planet at the start of the game. So those are the two major ones. Now, one thing I do want to point out that isn't in the rulebook right now, this is a thing that I suggested to the developer. What happens when a player, let me just come back here because I already have one set. Let's say someone gets an OmniForge card that already has a matching symbol on it. So here's an example. Planet wants blue resources being produced. What if a player starts with this already? See, that bothers me because one player could randomly start with an advantage toward their endgame condition, and that's 3 whole points. Now, some people might go, it's just 3 points, it's just one resource, who really cares? Here's the thing. I have 500 games in my collection, more so, and on higher scoring games like Arc Nova, and games where you're getting 100 plus points, yes, that's really not going to matter too much. But this is a game, at least on the old rule set, the average scores were around 20 to 30, maybe even 15 to 30. Those 3 points are huge. It's like a soccer match, right? That 1 point is huge, okay? Compared to, 125 versus 115. You know what I mean? It's just, the point differences are huge depending on the scale. So I think it matters a lot that because this game has low scoring points and, having a card like this in here where, one player could possibly have an advantage right from the start, I think that's a huge problem. So if it doesn't get fixed in the rulebook, I personally will house rule this to where the Omniforge card will not count during endgame scoring. That during this production here, it will not count toward this production majority. So ignore the Omni card during that check at the end of the game. That's how I'm going to do it 100%. The developer, I guess at this point, is still trying to figure out with his team whether or not they want to implement that or just not care about it. So if it were up to me, I would totally just ignore this card for endgame scoring. Everyone should be on equal footing all the time. If there is a first player, typically like the second or third player gets a bonus for going second or third, but in this game it doesn't really matter. So eliminate the whole possible RNG advantage here and just start everyone on equal footing. To me, that's a better design decision, but it's just me talking here. Anyway, getting to another one here. No auctions. They've completely removed the auction mechanic from the game. On the old rule set, on anyone's turn, they could go, so as long as they didn't have a card in their reserve, which you can only have one, they could point, I want that card, I'm going to put it up for auction. So all of time would stop and we'd have to resolve the action. We'd have to resolve the auction, and then the player whose turn it was will continue taking their turn. But when that happens, that bothered me a bit, because let's say I was deep in thought going, okay, I need this card because it chains off this, and I need this resource, and auction! So my thought process was completely interrupted. And now when the auction is done and I go back to this, I forgot what I was thinking. So they removed the whole, interruption in player turns, and I really like that. I'm not a big auction person anyway. Not that the auction in the original rule set was cumbersome, but it did interrupt the flow of play. So that's just one thing I just want to quickly mention, that they removed the whole auction mechanic. Another thing that they did was they changed the way that turns play out. In the original rule set, you had 6 rounds. You still do in the new rule set, but it's different. In the original rule set, everyone took a turn, and then it goes up. Everyone took a turn, and then the round marker moves up. Everyone takes a turn, the round marker moves up. It's a little different now. When you were doing this, one player goes, one player goes. When everyone's had it the same turns, this goes up. You could do a lot in that one turn. They've broken that up into this. So the round has, that's something they may want to fix. The zoom is upside down, but when you hold in the Alt key, that should not happen. All right, so I'll just try and highlight it here without doing that. So, the round starts with the event phase, and that's where if you move on to a spot with an exclamation point, you draw an event card, and so on. Normal event stuff. Production, players produce the resources in their tableau. Fine. Now we get to turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. So the way it works now is Starting in turn order, player 1 goes, then player 2 goes. Player 1 goes, then player 2 goes. Player 1, then player 2 goes. Okay, then we go to discard and then rotate player, meaning move the first player marker around the table. There was no first player marker, I don't believe, in the original game. Maybe there was, and I just completely missed it. But that's the new, like, I don't want to say elite, but it's the marker that was made during the Kickstarter promo stuff. But anyway, so rather than it being one person takes a turn, just everyone has had one turn, this moves up. Rather than do that, it's now everyone takes pretty much 3 turns per round. But there are limits now to what you can do on each individual turn. For example, you can only purchase 1 card on your turn. So on turn 1, I could only pick a card from here, just 1 card. And it has to be one that I haven't taken from via a reserve action. So you get pretty much like 1 purchase action and 1 reserve action on that 1 turn. I could not reserve this and then buy one of these other 2 because that's the same row. But I can reserve a card and purchase a card, typically. And then my opponent's going to do that. And then we move on to turn 2. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Possibly purchase a card, then reserve a card. And then everyone else goes. And then turn 3, I get to purchase a card, and so on. And at the beginning of every player turn, everything will be replenished. Here's a quick look at the new reference card. At the start of your turn, replenish cards and exchange markers. Exchange markers are still exchange markers from the original rule set. If these were moved and X'd at one point, they would refresh. Another thing to note about the turn changes. In the original rule set, you could adjust 1 of these markers per row per turn. So on my turn, I could buy this, then sell that, then buy this, then buy this, and sell that, and that would be it. Like that would be a single turn in the original rule set. Now I am limited to, players are limited to 2 rows per turn. So I could buy blue and sell green, and that's it. I cannot manipulate the market anymore for that turn. Until, like, let's say that was turn 1. Turn 2 comes back to me. Now I've got 2 more manipulations that I can do here, 1 per row. So they've adjusted how many cards you can purchase per turn, because now there's 3 of them. Otherwise, it would be chaos. In the standard game, you could buy 1 from here, 1 from here, 1 from here, and 1 from here. You could totally do that on your turn. Now it's limited 1 card per turn. And then you can buy a card and reserve a card. That's it. Those are the major differences there. Here's a quick look at the actions in case you're curious. At the start of your turn, replenish and exchange markers. Every turn you may, in order, purchase 1 card. You can reserve 1 card from a different row. The diamond art, that's these guys here. It looks like they've changed the art on that. That used to look a little different. That's cool. Okay. So I have to wonder then, what is this? Oh, it's a bonus if you put... Oh, interesting. So if you put one of these tier 3 cards underneath this... That's a new... I've never seen that. I'm seeing new things for the first time. They've completely added new things, like new requirements. So to get 4 points, all you got to do... This Abaddon can only hold 1 card per this 1 hammer here. And it has to... If you want the 4 points, it has to be one of these tier 3 cards. That is awesome. Okay, that's new to me. Oh, and look at this. They changed this too. Upper left-hand corner of this card is 4 research. It used to be 5, and now it's only 4. So they've cheapened these partnership cards. Pretty much the partnership cards from the old game, when you had one, all pink cards would be free for you. And when your opponent bought a pink card, you would get a resource, if I remember correct, or credit. I think it's an energy credit. It's been a while. But you get bonuses for having this. Now, it looks like they may have changed that. This says, this counts as a heart across all planets. So I have to wonder now, and this is something the developer and I discussed this at length, like the different rule changes, but I haven't seen this yet. Count hearts across all planets. I wonder if this now means you do not get to buy cards for free that are pink. Like here, like this here. I would not just... In the old game, if you had a pink partnership card, you could just take them for free. And that was it. I wonder now if these partnerships are now solely to complete various planet bonuses. I'm gonna have to check with the developer on that one. I just noticed that. But anyway, getting back to the actions, my ADHD is showing clearly. I'm all over the place. Exchange once on 2 different rows, refresh 1 row once, cost 1 energy credit, and then barter with other players. So yeah, as you can see, they completely removed the whole auction mechanic. And yeah, that's all I had in terms of the big rule changes. I will quickly highlight this, which is really cool. The developer added in my Equalize card. We got a chance to design our own little events in the Kickstarter campaign, and the developer chose one of mine. Move each exchange marker 1 space toward the center. This is actually based off of my solo rule set that I created for myself. It is up on Tabletop Simulator, and the rules are on Board Game Geek, but with these new rule changes, I have to go back to them now and see what I need to change to make it all work. So right now, my AI rule set, my solo rules are outdated. But he added the Equalize card in as part of the normal base game. State of Flux is a promo card that I created as well. Draw a second bonus tile from the box and place it near the current bonus tile. At the end of the game, players may choose which bonus tile to score, but not both. So I just wanted to highlight 2 new cards the developer, created based on my recommendation. It's really cool. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see them when I get the actual physical copy. It's just, I don't know. It's a nice little, shoulder. Anyway. So there you go, folks. That was a quick overview of the new rules in Star Tycoon. Keep in mind, like I said, the developer may change more. I don't know. And there may be more that I missed. So hopefully this gives you some idea as to what you're getting into should you decide to pick up this game. I highly recommend you do because I love the game. I've played it several times. I don't get to play board games and video games a whole lot because I'm always like covering stuff rather than playing them. I come back to this as often as I can because I enjoy it. I love the tableau building, the art and the colors pop. Just, oh, so good. So anyway, Star Tycoon, major rule changes. Hopefully I got them all. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I'm going to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Take care.